Okay, yeah, I wrote this poem. It's called Complicated, because quite a lot of people have said to me when you're trying to talk about Palestine, oh, but it's really complicated and it's really hard to understand, and, you know, they're both as bad as each other, etc., etc. And this kind of line, I think now has been well and truly dealt the kind of final blow, because it's so obviously incorrect. So I wrote this. They say, it's complicated. You don't understand. Do you support Israel's right to exist on stolen Palestinian land? Except they don't say that part, because they swallow the lie of a victimized Israel. Oh, the tears that they cry. But this unpromised land of the milk and the honey was colonized and stolen with taxpayers' money. The people who lived there were brutally wrenched from their homes and their land, but this thirst is never quenched, because no law applies to the Zionist state. They maim, torture, and kill. They will never abate. Raised to believe Palestinians aren't human, so it's a God-given right to treat them like vermin. Life is daily humiliation for the people who strive under this heavy yoke just to stay alive. The killing fields of Gaza, a stain on humanity. While we watch on in horror, what's become of our sanity? So don't tell me it's complicated.
This is about, I organise things for PSC in Southampton, and this is for a demonstration for Nakba Day. We organised about 8 years ago. We used to have about 15, 20 people come on them, a couple of hundred now, but that was then. And the only thing that's changed is the numbers have gone up. So I keep having to redo it with the number. It's called demonstration. Assembling by the bar gate for another demonstration for Palestine. A strange mix of older lefties, like social workers on a day out, and graceful young Muslim women in their hijabs with the Palestinian flag painted on their cheeks, but who chant so fiercely and passionately for Palestine. I then see an older woman in a headscarf standing off, watching us, with an indescribably powerful emotional expression in her eyes, and what I can only presume is her grandchild skips around her feet, and then she stops and watches us closely too. Dear grandmother, were you one of the 800,000 people forcibly evicted at gunpoint from your homes on Holland farms in Palestine, where your family had lived for centuries, by Zionist militias in 1948? Were the child's parents one of the thousands of innocents slaughtered in refugees camps in the Sabra and Shatila massacre with the support of Israel? And are the remnants of your family among the 67,000 people, over half of whom are women and children, currently being massacred by Israel in Gaza? We have had over 75 years of forced ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people from their own country and into refugee camps all over the Middle East. We have had 75 years of the murder of innocent Palestinian families while the world does nothing. And so, dear grandmother and child, I promise you this: I will do all within my power to stop the massacres of your brave and forgotten people from continuing. As a human being, I have a responsibility to you, and I will honour it. Thank you very much.
I'm not Palestinian, but I'm a mother, and I know there are parents here. And I know as a parent, I have no way of imagining anything worse than seeing my children suffer and be harmed and die. And it gives me an enormous amount of pride to be able to read the words of two Palestinian poets who have lost their lives in this conflict. And this is their expression of hope for Palestine and for their children and for the children of other Palestinians. The first is called I Grant You Refuge, and it's by, I apologise for the pronunciation, Hibu Abu Nadar, and it was written on October the 10th and was one of the last things she wrote before she was killed in an Israeli airstrike on October the 20th. I grant you refuge in invocation and prayer. I bless the neighbourhood and the minaret to guard them from the rocket. From the moment it is a general's command until it becomes a raid. I grant you and the little ones refuge, the little ones who change the rocket's course before it lands with their smiles. I grant you and the little ones refuge, the little ones now asleep like chicks in a nest. They don't walk in their sleep towards dreams. They know death lurks outside the house. Their mother's tears are now doves following them, trailing behind every coffin. I grant the father refuge, the little one's father who holds the house upright when it tilts after the bombs. He implores the moment of death, have mercy, spare me a little while for their sake. I've learned to love my life, grant them a death as beautiful as they are. I grant you refuge from hurt and death, refuge in the glory of our siege here in the belly of the whale. Our streets exalt God with every bomb. They pray for the mosques and the houses, and every time the bombing begins in the north, our supplications rise in the south. I grant you refuge from hurt and suffering with words of sacred scripture. I shield the oranges from the sting of phosphorus and the shades of cloud from the smog. I grant you refuge in knowing that the dust will clear and they who fell in love and died together will one day laugh.
We drop our bombs on hospitals, we drop our bombs on schools, but we only kill savages and terrorists. We don't play by our rules. We're the IDF. We're the IDF, USA. Defeat us, you can't beat us, you just do what we say. Israel has a right to defend itself, pirate your countries in the West. Genocide is a collective crime. You can't just blame us in the US. We're the IDF. We're the IDF, USA. You can't beat us. You can't defeat us. You just do what we say. So when we drop our bombs on hospitals, so when we drop our bombs on another hospital, we'd like to say thank you to all your countries in the West that made it possible. You're so civilized too. You can't beat us, you can't defeat us, you just do what we say.
Janie, I've been following the Palestinian struggle since the first Intifada of 1987. We know that it didn't start on October the 7th. It started the year I was born in 1967. No, even before that, in the Nakba of 1948. I'd like to start off with global warming glory days. And it goes, America, intoxicated on oil, eating up the Middle East, gorging on the soil, lies forwards the agenda. If with the UN you are a member, resolutions ignored by nations, bombing Palestinians in complications, the Star of David in light of swastika, in Palestine, the thief, the taker, no more peace and freedom, if there were ever some. CNN showing burning drones, BBC sold tourist homes, bleeding in the car bombs, seething in the desert sun, Yemen death camps, suspect hype, Israeli threats of Sunshine's Reich, truth is begging to be clean, dirt the filth of all drum seen. Posing for the media, price per gallon gonna freeze you, crying at the petrol pump, Arctic destination Trump, world completely turned to conflict, masses awoke to realising trick, hey nothing gonna move me, nothing gonna free me, basic pure delta frequency, Middle Eastern petrol bombs, burning American streets for songs, politicians can rightly petition, democracy and bloody outrage, 21st century burning to the last page, who can liberate the truth, paint the target emblazoned on you, bring $1 to my trial, star the mission into style, when nothing shines in freedom, liberty has even become, carved up is every nation, the G8 locust politician, point the blame at Hezbollah, raining upon the children death for power, rebellion in the Lebanon, crashing into protest song, children bleed on the hospital bed, underage youth terrorists dead, bled to die for the price of an engine starter, typically unintended, like anonymous a martyr. American decisions, political elite, kings and princes with their governors' deceit, feed themselves on blood and riches, Babylon appeasing bitches, into early rising sunshine smiles, counting dollar bills in piles, greedy grabbing hands for robbing, backs are ready for the stabbing, a ceasefire not for cedar tree, victims accusing democracy, imposed upon them American fate for world-inspired government, war pursuit to terror's rage, history burns in counted days, global warming glory days. Thank you very much.
As you know, I'm Palestinian. I'm from Hebron. Never lived in Hebron, unfortunately, because we are not allowed to visit. We are not allowed to live. Our land is taken from us. I still have family living there. We lost over 300 members of the family in the last 2 years in Gaza. Because my family originally came from Hebron. They've been displaced to Bethlehem in 1967, and then many of them had been displaced again to Gaza, and now they live in heaven. I think that's the only place where they can find peace. I'm not a poet, but I love a very famous poet called Mahmoud Darwish. He's a famous Palestinian poet. He became a symbol for resistance. He carried the word of exile, struggle, freedom. And since we are very young, we used to listen or read, actually. We used to read his poems. And he's very, very famous for a short piece that he wrote not long before he died in 2008. He died in exile in Houston, in America, after a heart operation. I think his heart decided to give up because it was so heavy. I don't think he could take anymore. He died without being able to be taken to get buried in Palestine. He wished to be taken there, but they prevented his body even to go to Palestine. But I'm sure his words, his soul, still lives in Palestine everywhere. So I'm gonna read his famous words of on this earth or in this land, what's worth living. And I will say it first in Arabic because I love reciting it in Arabic, and then I'll try to read it in English. So we'll start with the Arabic version, and I'm gonna do part of it only. The Arabic version goes like this, and I know Dima can speak Arabic. I don't know if there is anybody else can speak Arabic. It says, على هذه الأرض ما يستحق الحياة. على هذه الأرض سيدة الأرض، أم البدايات، أم النهايات. كانت تسمى فلسطين، صارت تسمى فلسطين. سيدتي، أستحق لأنك سيدتي، أستحق الحياة. I'll do the English equivalent, or whatever we can translate. And I would love one of you to give it a go at a certain point in time. I'm sure you will give it justice. I would love this poem to stay alive, to be repeated and repeated and to stay alive. On this land is what makes life worth living. On this land is the lady of the land, the mother of the beginnings, and the mother of the endings. She was named Palestine, still named Palestine. My lady, I'm worthy because you are my lady. I'm worth of life. Thank you very much.
And another one I wrote actually just a few months into the genocide when Biden was still president and obviously was still backing Israel to the hilt. So it seems kind of just as relevant now, really. It's called Israeli Self-Defense. Feral dogs feed on bodies crushed in their homes. Constant evil humming of Israeli drones. Snipers pick off children as they run for cover. A young girl weeps bitter tears over the body of her lover. This is Israeli self-defense. A baby is cut from his mother without anesthetic. IOF soldiers upload TikToks of their dancing energetic. The poets of Gaza are targeted by US-funded missiles, while Biden and Netanyahu shake hands, all smiles. This is Israeli self-defense. A toddler with no legs quietly asks his dad, "Will they grow back, Papa?" His eyes so sad. The head of Shifa Hospital has both arms broken by the IOF vandals for the words he hasn't spoken. This is Israeli self-defense. Chanting settlers stop aid getting in while children eat grass and their stomachs cave in. The mosques and the churches are bombed into dust. For no civilized life must remain, that's a must. This is Israeli self-defense. Backed into a corner with nowhere to run, the people of Gaza look into the gun that wants them all dead or displaced from their land and has no concern for the futures they'd planned. This is Israeli self-defense. But the children of Gaza are many and strong. Their lives have been short, but their memories are long. For death and destruction can never prevail. They will raise their flag and Israel will fail.